We've all heard the stories and the rumors of the sudden, unexplained wealth, the rapid development of luxury properties, and the nagging feeling that something just doesn't add up. I'm sure you've seen brand new luxury properties across the city and you've wondered, hey, Charlie, who is buying all these expensive properties? You're not alone. There's been a lot of chatter about money laundering in Ghana's real estate sector, and with a recent report implicating prominent figures in investigations related to the diversion of public funds into real estate, the spotlight is firmly on this issue. But this isn't just about the recent cases that are coming to light. It's more about a broader challenge that has plagued the real estate sector for many years. We're not here to throw around business accusations or make headlines. No, far from that. We're here to break down the issue of money laundering. What exactly is it and how does it work in real estate? And most importantly, how does it affect the average Ghanaian looking to buy or rent a home? So then, let's get into it. Let's start with the basics. Now, money laundering is when money that is obtained illegally, that is, whether through corruption, fraud, or illegal businesses, is made to look clean by passing it through legitimate channels. And these legitimate channels can act as the washing machine or the laundry to clean that money. And you can think of it as trying to wash the dirt off that dirty money. And normally criminals do this to hide the true sources of their monies so they can end up spending or investing that money without raising any suspicions. And real estate happens to be a prime target for money laundering worldwide and not just in Ghana. Why? Well, because there are huge sums of money involved in property transactions, and once that money is tied up in real estate, it becomes very difficult to trace the origins of the money. Think of it as a cycle, often involving three stages. There's the placement, there's the layering, and there's the integration. Now, placement is when the cash first enters the financial system. For example, someone may deposit large sums of money into a bank account or use it to buy high-value assets. Then comes layering, where the money is moved around to obscure or hide its origins. And this stage often involves complex transactions, shell companies, and overseas transfers. And finally, there's integration, where the money is reintroduced into the legitimate economy. And this often involves investments like real estate. Now, why is real estate so attractive for money laundering? Well, it offers several advantages in the sense that properties are high value assets, which make it very easy to absorb large sums of cash at a time and also over time. And transactions can also be very complex and also involve multiple parties, which makes it very difficult to trace the money. And real estate can be a stable investment, which provides a long-term haven for illicit funds. And in Ghana, like many developing economies, the real estate sector has seen rapid growth. And while this growth is generally positive, it can also create some vulnerabilities. Now, the cash-heavy nature of some of these transactions and also the lack of complete transparency in the, let's say, issues of land ownership and also the potential for regulatory gaps can also create opportunities for money laundering. Let's look at how money laundering is done through real estate. Now, there are several ways people use real estate to clean their money, but then here are the most common methods you will find. I mean, the usual tactics that people play by. Now, the first one is either overpricing the property or underpricing the property. Now, someone buys a property at, let's say, an inflated price using very illicit funds, and later they resell that same property at a lower market value, and suddenly the illicit money or illegal money looks legitimate. Another one is buying properties in cash. Now, large cash transactions with little to no documentation will make it very, very hard to trace the source of the money or the source of the funds. And also, another case is where people use shell companies and third parties. Now, some people use fake companies or trusted associates to buy properties on their behalf, thereby hiding their true identity. Another scenario is flipping properties rapidly. Now, this is not very common, but then it still happens, where people end up selling a property multiple times in a very short period at increasing values, and then this makes it very difficult to trace the original source of the funds used in that transaction. Unfortunately, these tactics make it very easy for individuals to move illegal money without raising any suspicions. Now, let's look at the case for Ghana. How prevalent is money laundering in the country? Here's where things get really, really interesting. Ghana's real estate sector has seen rapid growth in recent years, with luxury development springing up left, right, center. But then, with this boom has come a rise in concerns over illicit money flowing into the sector. Now, several reports from financial intelligence agencies have pointed out that Ghana's real estate market is vulnerable to money laundering. And you may ask, why? Well, there's high demand and rising prices of properties. Now, property is a safe and an appreciating asset, and this makes it very attractive for both legitimate investors and also those who are looking to hide their money. There's also weak regulatory oversight in the sense that, unlike in some countries where every large transaction is thoroughly vetted, Ghana's property market has gaps that allows illicit money to just slip through the cracks. There's also the case of cash-based transactions, where many property transactions in Ghana involve direct cash payments, which makes it very difficult to track where the money is coming from. There's also the issue of limited reporting obligations, where developers and agents are not always required to verify the source of funds before selling a property. This doesn't mean that every property deal in Ghana is suspicious. No, but then it does mean that there's room for abuse if stronger regulations are not enforced. Now you may be thinking, okay, how does this affect me? Well, in more ways than you'd think, actually. Now, one of the first things you need to consider is skyrocketing property prices. How? Well, when people use dirty money to buy property, they don't care about the fair pricing policies. And this ends up driving property prices up, and it makes it harder for the genuine buyers to afford homes. There's also the case of limited housing for the average Ghanaian. And when high-end properties normally dominate the market, developers end up focusing on expensive projects instead of affordable housing. And this is all due to the demand that is fueled by those who are buying properties to hide their money. There's also the issue of economic instability, in the sense that when illegal money floods an industry, it creates financial bubbles that can end up crashing and also affecting the broader economy. At the end of the day, if you don't have your real estate market in check, you'll end up having a case where it only benefits a few people while making it harder for the majority to own property. And here's the case where we keep talking about affordable homes and affordable property and all that. But then really, if we have this issue of money laundering prevalent, and then we have more people just buying properties to stack away their cash to hide illegal monies, well, the issue of affordable homes could be something that would be more of an afterthought and not an active pursuit for the general or the average developer. So based on all that is happening, someone may also be wondering what is being done to stop it. In the heart of all this, I can guarantee that there's some good news in the sense that Ghana is not sleeping on this issue of money laundering. Now, the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, that is GREDA, have been working to help regulate the industry and also reduce the risk of money laundering. And some of the measures they've undertaken over time includes their partnership with international bodies that is helping to promote financial transparency and also strengthen compliance in the space when it comes to all the transactions that are going back and forth. We need stricter due diligence requirements for property transactions and also some enhanced reporting for suspicious activities, in the sense that it should be very easy for you to report a suspicious activity while remaining anonymous so that we can bring some sanity to the space. We also need to strengthen the regulations that govern the space to require real estate professionals to verify the source of funds of their clients before proceeding with any transactions. Now, we also need to encourage digital transactions and banking trails instead of just cash-based deals. So when someone comes to you and then a person says, I have all cash, I want to pay all cash. Even though many developers like this deal, you may want to protect yourself by opting for some digital transactions where there's a trail to determine the source of the fund, and that will end up indemnifying you, the developer, and anybody else involved in transactions, even including property agents. So instead of cash transactions, you may want to have that money go through the bank or through some channel that will leave a trail to guide whoever may be investigating the source of the funds. And then in the end, your hands will be clean, whether you're a developer or whether you're a property agent. These measures are a step in the right direction, but then there's still more work to be done. Now, the implications of money laundering are very, very serious because it undermines the integrity of our financial system, and it also ends up distorting market prices, and this can also fuel corruption and organized crime. Now, it also robs the nation of resources that could be used for vital public service. Now, when public funds are diverted into private real estate, it impacts your schools, your hospitals, your roads, and other essential infrastructure. And you may ask, how? Well, if money meant for your roads or to build hospitals is diverted into some private accounts, definitely your school is not coming up anytime soon. Your hospitals are not coming up anytime soon. So it might seem like a very distant matter, but then the real issue is that it's right at your doorstep and it's affecting you in more ways than you can imagine. We all know some issues are currently being investigated, but then we need to make this very clear. We're not making any specific accusations here. Investigations are ongoing and everyone is entitled to their due process. And what we need to understand is that the fact that these investigations are happening highlights that there is a need for greater vigilance when it comes to the issue of money laundering in Ghana's real estate sector. As I mentioned, money laundering in real estate is not just some distant issue. It has real effects on the housing market, on property prices, and also on the economy at large. Money laundering is not just some white collar problem, it affects all of us. It inflates the prices of properties, it undermines fair competition, and this can even damage the country's reputation as an investment destination. It used to be that those who laundered money were mostly buyers, but then over time, we've seen that some crooks can disguise themselves as real estate developers and they end up pumping huge sums of money into their projects. And once the projects sell, their money is cleaned. As a buyer or as a renter or an investor, always do well to do your due diligence and ask questions, verify the ownership of the property, and also be cautious of the deals that seem too good to be true. So, what can we do? Well, as an industry full of professionals, definitely we want to prioritize compliance and also due diligence. And as citizens, we need to demand transparency and accountability. And as a nation, we need to support the efforts of our regulatory bodies to strengthen our financial system. This is not just a matter of law enforcement, it goes much beyond that. It's more about protecting the integrity of our economy and also ensuring that the benefits of real estate development are shared by all Ghanaians. We must work together to shine a light on the shadows and also build a more transparent and accountable real estate sector. Do well to stay tuned for more discussions on issues that matter to you. And remember, knowledge is power, and together we can build a strong and a more transparent real estate market in Ghana. So let's keep the conversation going. What are your thoughts on real estate money laundering in Ghana? Have you ever seen or come across a suspicious property deal? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and of course, subscribe to the channel for more real estate insights. Stay informed and stay vigilant. My name is Desmond Kafui and this is Ghana Ground Up. I'll catch you in the next episode.